Creepypastas have been around for almost as long as the internet has. Now, if you don't know what a creepypasta is a myth or urban legend that is circulated throughout the internet, sort of like a campfire story. Here are the top 10 unique creepypastas ever told. Number 1 is Slenderman. Slenderman is a mythical creature who is viewed as a tall, thin figure wearing a black suit and a blank face. It can cause insomnia, memory loss, and paranoia. The creature can also distort photographs and videos. His main killings are on small children, and if you see him, it's already too late. It's rumored to have been alive for centuries. There are many video games and console games nowadays that are actually dedicated to Slenderman, like Slender: The Arrival. For all the people who are not scared shitless, feel free to play this at night. Number 2 is 1999. This story, simply called 1999, is about a Canadian blogger who decided to look into an old TV show that he watched in the year 1999. The actual series itself only aired for a few episodes. One episode, called Playing with Scissors, had live-action hands on a table. The show immediately turned sinister when the big hands repeatedly stabbed the small hand until it bled and all the way down to the bone. The next episode's called Mr. Bear's Cellar, which had a lunatic dressed in a bear costume called Mr. Bear. Mr. Bear did so crucial things that I can't even say it on here. Finally, the police were actually able to get into the show and shut it down. But for all the people who watched the morbid episodes before it was shut down were left mentally scarred. Number 3 is Jeff the Killer. Jeff was a 13-year-old boy who moved into a new home with his family. One day, while waiting for the bus, 3 teenagers attacked Jeff and his brother, but Jeff defeated them, leaving them on the street with broken wrists and knife stabs. After that encounter, Jeff realized that he enjoyed torturing the teetotal dog piss out of anyone. One night, soon after, Jeff's mom could hear crying in the other room. What his mother didn't realize is that she walked into a horrid sight. Jeff cut in a permanent smile into his cheeks. He also burned off both of his eyelids so he could avoid sleep. His last words to his mother was, "Mommy, you lied," after which he murdered his entire family and left the scene. Most people say that Jeff's still out there looking for his next victim. Number 4 is the Rake. In 2006, researchers dug up dozens of documents depicting a creature known simply as the Rake. It is filled with multiple people's encounters with the horrid creature. One couple describes their encounter as follows. The couple had woken up at the middle of the night to hear a strange noise and see lying at the foot of their bed is a combination of a man/big hairless dog. The creature then immediately sprung up and crouched in front of the husband's face before he leapt towards their children's bedrooms. The couple immediately jumped out of bed, but by the time that they tried to find the Rake, it was too late. The couple found their daughter mutilated, and her final words were, "He is the Rake." Yeah. Number 5 is Where the Bad Kids Go. A photographer decided to look up an old TV show that he used to watch as a kid in wartime Lebanon. The half-hour show relied on gory imagery and scare tactics to keep kids from misbehaving. The closing scene of every episode has a slow zoom to an old, rusted iron door, and where you hear screams on the other side, and then you hear more and more screams the closer you get. And then the words, "That's where the bad kids go," arrived in Arabic. The photographer was somehow able to find the old studio where the show was filmed, and despite being abandoned for a very long time, he was able to find the old rusted iron door. But the worst part about it is when he looked what was actually inside of it. When he entered the room, he saw an empty room filled with blood, shit, and bones, and a caged mic hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the room. Number 6 is Lavender Town Syndrome. Shortly after the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan in 1996, there was a sharp increase in suicides in children between the ages of 7 and 12. Shortly after that, parents and police officers began to notice that the children were actually reaching a place called Lavender Town. It's said that the music there has such a high frequency that only young children can hear it. This caused 200 children to take their own lives, either by hanging themselves or jumping from extremely high places. But now the actual song sounds different and is played at a lower frequency for children so they don't actually commit suicide ever again. The original song, however, is on YouTube right now. Feel free to have a listen. Number 7 is Suicide Mouse AVI. Years ago, a weird cartoon of Mickey Mouse surfaced, which looked like it had been lost from around the 1930s. It was named Suicide Mouse.avi, and it consisted of Mickey Mouse walking in a looped city background. If you looked closely, Mickey Mouse had a scared expression on his face. After returning from cut to black, it shows Mickey Mouse again walking the exact same way, but this time have a sinister grin on his face. The video then immediately cuts to Mickey Mouse's face with a broken music box looping for about 30 seconds. What's creepy is that no one actually knows what happens in the last 30 seconds of that clip. But it is said that a Disney employee actually watched the last 30 seconds of the clip and was so disturbed and so creeped out by it that he actually walked out of the room, looked his employee right in the face, and shot him square in the head. Now, if you feel like being a little insane tonight, I suggest you watch that clip. Number 8 is Candle Cove. Back in the early 1970s, there was a show called Candle Cove which showed freaky puppets. User SkyShale003 created an online chat room to see if there were any other people who watched the same stuff that he did, because it gave him nightmares that he still lives with to this day. Out of pure shock, he was actually able to find other users who actually had the same nightmares that he has, and actually recalls some of the puppets, including Horace the Horrible, the Skin Taker, and Pirate Percy. The conversation immediately jumped to the final episode where the members recalled the puppets bursting into horrifying screams that left SkyShale003 and other members of the forum crying in horror. One user named Mike Painter65, shocked that there were other people who had the same consequences and nightmares that he has, actually consulted his mother on why she actually let him watch the show. The man's mother was somehow surprised and a little shocked and creeped out that he actually remembers watching Candle Cove as a kid, because she said that he would sit in front of a static TV screen for 30 minutes every day saying that he's watching his favorite pirate show. Number 9 is Abandoned by Disney. A Disney theme park called Treasure Island in Baker's Bay, Bahamas was abandoned by Disney. This happened when a $30 million construction project had failed and has since been abandoned and called a ghost town. One person was stupid enough to go into the darkened theme park just to look around. The creepy experience he was noticing actually got worse when he entered into the mascot-only section. A number of Disney costumes were laid out everywhere, but 2 of them actually caught his attention. One was a Donald Duck costume where he picked up the head and a human skull fell out of it. And the last one was a negative-colored Mickey Mouse costume that was laid out on the floor that looked like a murder victim. The costume immediately sprung to life. "Want to see my head come off?" the mascot actually said before, without waiting a second, immediately started tearing at his head and neck. Thick, chunky yellow blood began to spew everywhere, and the man turned and ran out the door. But without stopping, he noticed a sign above the door saying "Abandoned by God." And number 10, Ben Drowned. Ben Drowned is a creepypasta that involves a Haunted Majora's Mask cartridge that a young man got from an older gentleman at a yard sale. And once he got home, he decided to play the game. Things were going completely normal until he tried to do what is known as the 4th day glitch. After this, that's when the crazy stuff started happening. The game started playing the Song of Time in reverse. Other things like you repeatedly levitating off the ground and burning alive, and the floor not showing up as other things. He was so terrified that he actually recorded it and put it on YouTube. You can go look, but be warned. So there you have it. Let's just hope that you're not having any nightmares tonight. But if you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe. Other than that, we've been ATTC Gaming, and we will see y'all in your nightmares.